Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blood Bowl!
Good morning, Blood Bowl, and welcome to Two Dice Block. I'm your coach, Stephen, and here with me is Coach Laidlaw.
Hello.
And Coach Luke.
Hello.
Let's get to it. Alright, let's strong arm this conversation over to Luke, and he's going to be telling us a bit about the head-to-head of our teams and a 12-page discussion. Take it away, Luke.
Done.
Sure. Right. Hey Blockers, my name's Luke and I'm here today to talk about the Sunshine Coast Blood Bowl League's Grand Final Series Season 4. To help me assist with that, we have Tour Play. Now, if you're not familiar with Tour Play, it's a bookkeeping system for leagues and tournaments. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to quickly go through a couple of categories here. We have offensive, defensive, brutality, resistance, and dirty play. These all mean different things, and in the head-to-head comparison, it's worked out on a sliding scale of solid, poor, awesome, excellent, all these different categories that they fall into. I'm just going to start with the offensive blocks. So the two teams that we're going to talk about is the Soul Assassins and the Orc Rock. Soul Assassins, which is coached by Coach Jason, has had a stellar season, and we're just going to look at his offensive record, and it's sitting at solid. So solid is a good place to be. It's not poor, it's not great, it's not excellent, but it is solid. So basically that category will be a representation of touchdowns scored by Jason in his season. Next up for Jason is defensive. Now this is a really important category. I feel pretty strongly that games are won by defense, and this guy's defense is amazing. So his standing for the defensive category is awesome. That's the best you can get. So that's something that's going to be really good for the weekend when the game actually is played. Brutality is the next category, and his rating is solid. The brutality category is based on casualties. So each game that's played, he's probably just looking at the numbers there, he's getting close to 2 or 3 casualties a game, which is pretty great. Resistance, which is the opposite of that, is how much toughness his players have, and his with Orc Rock. We'll start with the offensive. So once again, Coach Ken has an excellent rating there, which means he's scored quite a lot of touchdowns. The next category is defensive. Awesome. So in the matchup between Jason and Ken, awesome on both sides for defensive, so it's probably going to be a low-scoring game. Next down the list is brutality. Now, Ken's pretty well known for messing up people's teams. He has a lot of mighty blow and stuff all over the place. His brutality rating is awesome. Next up is resistance, and he hasn't taken many casualties this season, so his rating for that again is awesome. And the last category is dirty play, and I don't think he's thrown a foul this season. He doesn't have a rating for that. Something cool that Tour Play's brought in the last couple of, maybe a week or so, month or so I should say, is the overall ranking globally and regionally. So looking at Coach Jason, he is a dwarf coach. He is sitting at 23rd overall ranking internationally. I'm not too sure exactly how they get these numbers, but this is what it's telling me. And Coach Jason's ranking for dwarves, regional ranking is 1. He's the number 1 dwarf coach in the region, which is pretty amazing. And then looking at Coach Ken, he is a 10th overall internationally for Orc, and he's sitting at first place regionally for a coach of the Orcs. That's all I really have to say about Tour Play matchups. Cheers, guys.
And now we're going to cross over to Stephen, who's going to be looking at Ken's Orc Rock team for the finals of the Sunshine Coast Blood Bowl.
And I'm back. Now we're going to be discussing Orc Rock and the individual builds of their team. So Orc Rock is coached by Ken, an amazing coach. He's gone through a couple of seasons with us. As Luke mentioned, he's sitting at number 1 regionally in Australia. Amazing. So I have his team list here with me, and we're going to just running through a couple of his team players and how he's built them and if they've brought back from season 2. All right, let's have a look and see. So we've got a couple of big gun blockers. We've got 4 big gun blockers, 2 blitzers. Sorry, 4 blitzers. Oh my gosh, he's running a few. Orc linemans, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 goblin. I love his goblin names. Twisted Sister. How awesome is that? That's amazing.
D. Snyder's upset.
I know. So let's take a look and see. We've got Akka, and Daka.
Akadaka.
Akadaka. Those are the 2 blockers. Both of them's got block, as they should. And one of them's currently running guard. The third of the big blockers, Iron and Maiden. The next 2 combos. I love this combo. I love that they have
like
comboing.
He has a theme going on here.
They do. Now, Iron is a second season player. So he's come back. He's redraft Iron. He's come back. And again, this guy has got guard and block. You see a little pattern going on. Maiden, again, same. Block and guard. Now, look out for them, all right? Let's move on down to our blitzers. We've got Motley, Crew, Def, and Leopard. You can feel like it's a bit of rock feel in this.
A rock feel, yeah.
It is. Now, Motley and Crew are back for a second season. So let's have a look and see what they got. Block, Animosity are the given. He's now got Tackle, Mighty Blow +1, and Dodge. Now, Dodge on a blitzer, an Orc blitzer.
Orc blitzer.
An Orc blitzer. Wow. So, man, that is scary. All right? That's scary. He's dodging on a 3+ with a reroll. He's got Tackle to handle the other players leaving his tackle zone. And Mighty Blow. What more could you ask for?
Mighty Blow +2.
Mighty Blow, well, you could ask for a lot more. Now, let's see. Crew's got the same thing. He's got Tackle, Mighty Blow. But now, he's added Sure Hands and On the Ball. For a second season player, that is pretty good too. Adding all these additional rules and skills has blown up his TV quite a fair bit. So, let's look at Def Leppard running, and Def Leppard's got Tackle, Mighty Blow, and Dodge. So that's 2 blitzers with Dodge. Ooh, I've come up against this team, and man, we'll have a chat about that in just a short while. Last but not least, Leopard, he's got Tackle, Mighty Blow, and a dirty player. These dirty players.
This is what I've taught him.
That is, Monkey see, monkey do. That's it. Now, moving down the line, we've got a couple of linemen coming back for a second season. Bond is coming back for a second season, along with Jovi. Now, Bond's got block and tackle, and Jovi's only got block. So this team is looking very solid with blocks all around. We've got one of the last 2 linemen, which is, I know, it's the line rats in me is coming out. We've got Meat and Loaf. He will do anything for love except for lose a match. I think that's one of the things, right? So Meat is coming out for a second season. He's got kick and block. And Loaf. Oh, Loaf has yet to earn his stripes. He's a freshman and he has nothing. Just animosity to all of the other amazing players on his team. Like I said, Twisted Sisters. You got Twisted and Sister with Dodge, Right Stuff, and Stunty. The playstyle is amazing. So let's have a chat and see. I've played against Ken, and he is an amazing player. He's technical. He knows what his team does well. He's played it for 2 seasons. He's taken it to the Slam, the Sunny Coast Slam, and has won with Sunny Coast Slam as well with the Orcs. So he knows the strengths and the weaknesses of the Orcs, and he plays them so well. Spreading out his players, knowing when to move forward, when to hold back. Having Dodge on his blitzers is amazing. So I think he's doing something right. He put me on the back foot, but my Black Orcs don't hold up against the
Formidable
Orc Rocks. The Orcs, yeah. So let's have a look and see. Now, tactic-wise, I'll open up to the panels and discuss how we see and how do you think Jason can have a leg up. What do you think?
For me, he's when I played Ken, he was very dominating, but I forced him to actually score as quickly as possible because I kept fouling his players on the ground with Lord Borak, and
Those ground blitzes.
that +2 to a dirty player, he actually weighed up whether to wait for another turn and possibly lose another biggin. Taking down his biggins with guard is the way to do it. If you can take them down and remove them, KO, even stunning them, that a lot of his defensive line becomes very susceptible because they're only
Yeah.
strength 3. Whilst they have all these wonderful skills, all it takes is for you to get in and roll the right dice at the right time, and they can go down.
Now, who do you think would be his key players to look out for?
The cruise missiles.
The cruise
The
missiles.
4 blitzers, they do it all. If you have a look at their stats for the season, their touchdowns and casualties, they're doing it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really had to stack MVP onto his blitzers. He's spread that across the team. So if you have a look at his team list, it looks like every player's managed to get at least one primary skill, and that's a choice by Ken. It's no accident that every player's ended up the way it is.
When I was talking to him, he said that he likes to build his team holistically. So therefore, he's not building positionals to do damages. What he does, he builds the team to actually run as a whole. So, and honestly, at the end of it, if you look at the his biggins, they can double quite easily as blitzers themselves.
Yeah.
His linemen can even blitz. I mean, they've got block and tackle. He also, his ball carrier is going to be crew for the most part, short hands
100%.
and on the ball.
Yep, so true.
Well,
But I found that when it push came to shove, he was happy to throw anybody onto that ball. It didn't really matter.
and that's the beauty of it. I think in most teams, you have a sole ball carrier, and if you lose a sole ball carrier, you kind of are on the back foot on how do you move the ball from point A to point B. But with Orc Rock, it seems that it doesn't matter. At any point in time, whoever's closest to the ball is the ball carrier and is the blitzer and is the, is a tackle player, guard. He can put in somebody. I think the only thing I see that's missing in his team is a troll.
No troll,
There's no
yeah.
big guys. There's nothing.
He's not interested in trolls. He doesn't need them. Because of the guard, he gets to get strength 5s pretty quickly on most of his
No
guys.
thrower either. I think the Orc thrower is a bit of a AV9 is that.
It's the weakness of the
It's
team.
the weakness of the team.
Yeah.
Well-
He only puts goblins on when he has to, unless he is trying to, say, foul out somebody.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
If you know there's end of a drive, turn 6 or 7,
Yeah.
you want to foul some
Or
stuff out for
the other
half-time.
one is that if he scores in turn 8 and has to face a line of horrible people, he'll put his 2 goblins on
You
to
have
face on the
Goblins ready
front
to
line.
take it.
Well, I mean, look, you're better off sending the gobbles to the front line than having to put one of your skilled up linemen. So I mean, you put Loaf there. Loaf has got nothing. He's a fresh face. He's got to earn his stripes. You put Loaf there along with the Twisted Sisters, and hopefully one of them come out alive, and you can go. Well, let's see what you can do. Earn your stripes. Get yourself some TV.
Probably the other big
SPPs.
strength that he's got is 8 rerolls.
Wow, yeah.
That is
Yes.
8 rerolls.
Now-
So that is a lot. That means he essentially is never going to fail unless he does a really, really bad roll into roll.
Oh,
but he
absolutely.
hasn't got Luke's luck, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
Well, yeah,
not
that's,
everyone's blessed. The thing is, like, with rerolls, are they better than skills? I think skills do far more than a reroll.
Well, yeah. Look, with the skills, you have it specifically for that skill. But with the reroll, I think having pro and rerolls are a key essential to a team where you just need that one thing to go right. We've had many players that come across us who are just not wanting to put any rerolls. So they go in the field, just ham, pedal to the metal, and no rerolls. And it scares me. If I don't have a reroll, like a safety net, I don't know what to do.
I usually burn through mine really quick. So
Surprisingly, we all have a tendency to burn our rerolls,
We
especially
do.
for useless stuff. That is also a weakness that I think Ken may have, is that because he has so many rerolls, he might feel a little bit too complacent and confident spending them.
Yeah.
And then coming to the back end of the field, especially if he's up against another grinding team, which he is this time, he might actually have to be considering his reroll management style.
even short hands isn't a given. So
No.
picking up on 3 is like, it sounds pretty easy. Or
Yeah, and the fact you
2
can't
out of
reroll a
2
reroll.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 chance, like it can happen. You roll
That
one or
being
2.
said, though, he also has a TV of 2130
$2.13 million.
million.
That's-
So this is essentially, we talk about below 10 teams. This is it. But he's got a team that's backing it up.
After watching his last match, which was against you, Andrew,
Yep.
he basically spent all his treasury. He had a heap of gold, and he's gone all the way. And like you said, bought those goblins, filled out his roster with rerolls, assistant coaches, cheerleaders. He's just thrown it all
The
over this
reason
last
he
game.
did that was because he actually lost an assistant coach roll off to get a reroll.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I rolled a 6, he rolled a 1. He said, I've got it. No, I don't have
Now,
one
this is
assistant coach.
a question that he messaged me a couple of days ago when he was putting his list together. And his question was, if he has 8 rerolls on his roster and he rolls on the kickoff event and gets a reroll, does he end up with 9 rerolls?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what we figured it out. But yeah, it's in his mind. He knows
it's a
what's
golden
going
star reroll. I think it goes the same with leader as well. So if you can get 8, you purchase 8 and you have leader, you have the leader reroll essentially as part of your team. But remember to mark that leader reroll. Okay, if your leader leaves, that leader reroll leaves with him.
So what do you think Jason's best chance to do is?
I would
Shake
say-
hands and pray God.
It'll be, I reckon, the tactics that Jason's been using all season. Grind, and grind again.
You don't need to win 3-0.
No, you don't have to win 3. 1-0's all you need.
Yeah.
But it's that defensive play. And I personally think Ken has got speed enough in his team to get through Jason. However, if Jason can cripple as many players as possible and force Ken to score early, then there's a chance Jason can come back.
Well, the thing is, like, I haven't seen Ken lose any players in 2 seasons. It's going to happen. I'm not jinxing you, mate, but, you know, occasionally it's going to happen. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get that armor break injury roll. It's one of those things. It's inevitable.
Does he have an apothecary? Yeah, don't
Yeah, he does.
don't
He
remove
does.
your apothecary. We've seen in the recent times, the apothecary is important. Now for Jason, what do we think with the bloat of his team, of Quen's team? We're gonna look at he's gonna have a lot of things that he can do. Now we'll discuss that in a little bit on what he can do, but from here on out, that's my take on Ken's team, the Orc Rock. We wish you the best. We're going to do a little bit more as we go along. Now let's head over to Coach Laidlaw.
Rightio. So, Jason's Soul Assassins. I was very, very fortunate to play these guys in the very first round of this season when he didn't have a single skill. And I had Norse, so I had plenty of skills. So, Jason, his team has got 2 Troll Slayers, Vic Bitter and 150 Lashes. He's got 2 runners, Cascade Premium and Bogues Premium. He's got 2 blitzers, Harnice, and I'm going to go with, this is one made up by Tour Play for him, is Tragodom Bittlemark. He's got Heineken Original as one of his linemen, Boulder Thane as another, Cooper Stout as a 3rd, Tui Old as a 4th, Greg Gragum Granite Guard as a 5th, and he's bought a Death Roller.
Wow.
How much is a death roller?
120. 170, sorry, 170.
I think looking at those player names, I think Coach Jason has a second hobby.
Of drinking.
Yeah.
Yes. Look,
It's close to my heart.
it's a very close to heart. At the looking through this though, with his Troll Slayers, he has basically done what Ken has done with Block, Dauntless, Frenzy, Thick Skull, which is the standard ones, Mighty Blow, Tackle, and Guard. Guard was actually a random roll.
Well
So
done.
He did well for that one. So that is actually a really important one because that is the blitzer you're going to be throwing in there to knock someone away and giving you an opportunity for your guys who are close to other people right near him to start pounding stuff down. So don't be surprised to see the Troll Slayer aiming at one of the Orc Guard pieces, removing it or pushing it away, and then allowing the rest of his pieces to hit at strength 4.
Yeah.
150 Lashes, again apart from all the usuals, has got Mighty Blow and Armbar. Armbar, it's a random roll skill, but it's one that you shouldn't forget because it does have its moment in the sun. All it takes is that one failure on a dodge when you're trying to get away, and suddenly you're in a world of hurt. His Dwarf Runner. Now this is going to be probably his main. This one is his secondary ball carrier, his Cascade Premium, with Block, Leader, and Strip Ball. It's more like a blitzing sort of runner to get in there and get the ball out. Whereas Bogues Premium is his main runner with Block, Dodge, a dodgy dwarf,
Secondary.
on the ball, and Tackle. Again, can do the blocks. It can also blitz. He's got everything he needs there.
It's not bad on a reroll as a random roll for strip ball
I think
and
very
tackle.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing really useless there.
No, his blitzer it's only got one blitzer that's been skilled up. That's the Harnice with Mighty Blow. The other one's a brand new blitzer because it got casualtied, I'm guessing. Is 2 linemen that weren't skilled up either. I'm going to guess that they also copped a bit of a pounding earlier on. I know Jason did lose a couple of players.
He could have taken a weird random and just decided to fire them.
No, he did have a full compliment when I ran into him.
Oh
First
yeah,
encounter.
he had, because he ran up against the Davy Divas, and that was a pretty solid match.
That
as
was
well.
a brutal match.
Yeah.
Cooper Stout and 2 years old, both of which are his defensive pieces, essentially. Tackle, block, thick skull with guard. So he's trying to counter that strength 4 with his guard pieces. So those ones I don't think will be hitting too much. I think they'll be the ones moving into position to give particularly his Troll Slayers and his Blitzers their ability to get in there and knock things down.
Yeah.
But looking at this, it's a very specialty list. You can see the guys that it hasn't had second season. This is a first season team, so it hasn't developed holistically like Ken's has, where he's developed everything. These ones have been developed on the guys who have played the major part of the season.
One's going to help.
Yeah.
Win.
So, essentially, looking at this with that amazing Death Roller, I reckon that's going to be the bane for Ken.
Do you think Ken will try and dodge away from the death
I
roll?
think Ken needs to dodge away from it, but he hasn't got a particularly dodgy team.
No, AG4 on the
AG4 and the big uns, they're going to be they're going to be the ones that if they get stuck in base to base, they're going to struggle a bit. Jason only has 2 rerolls, so his reroll management has to be good.
Sure hands helps.
Sure hands is a handy thing he's got. He's only got 2 players with that, and this was something that I discovered when I played him in my game. Was yes, whilst everything seems to have 10s, his Troll Slayers and his Runners don't. They're only 9.
That is a liability.
So that's a
And
massive liability.
You've got niggling as well.
Yep. And
You got the niggling injury as well. So that brings the
Injury roll.
the injury roll down, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at what hopefully Jason can do. But what do you reckon Ken's going to be doing? How is Ken going to take on this?
Okay, so Ken's brute force. He's going to try and remove as many players or at least knock them down, limit those activations, and he will cage up really quickly and he'll score really slowly.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we all know that Blood Bowl is a game of touchdown. But if you don't have the players on the pitch, you can't pick up the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, as what Coach Luke said, going after it, just taking individual players out and just thinning the herd is probably what Ken is going to do.
Yep, and I reckon Ken will be, if he can, receiving the ball first up. In the first half, he will receive the ball because he knows that the inducements that he's giving away,
Yeah.
he needs to get whatever Jason puts on the pitch, he needs to get rid of it quickly, including the Death Roller.
Yeah,
and remember,
which-
the Death Roller
Secret weapon.
is a secret weapon.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
he will be trying to, he can either play slowly and grind it, which I don't think he will. Once the Death Roller starts activating,
You can't,
you'll be losing player
so
to player.
this is a weird way to look at it, but do you think instead of Ken running away from the death roller, he could focus on it with a heap of guard pieces
Yes.
and try and get a 2-dice block and just knock it down? The movement is enough to stop it because
Yep.
then he's blitzing, losing. Yeah.
That's it. So three big uns on the line, up against the Death Roller, all 3 with guard, then blitzing in with the 4th big un with block.
Yep.
Which the Death Roller doesn't have. It's the best way to take it
4,
out.
5, 6, 7.
Even AV11 is not impossible.
But AV11 knocked down, and then having 3 guard pieces next to it, that's a +3.
And he's
But
got
then
got dirty
like,
players as
five-
well.
Look
he's
at
got
it
a
this way,
dirty player
like efficiency of the team. So a death roll is 160,
170.
170k, and if you're committing 4
Oh, no, he
players
doesn't.
to it, that could be just the job that the death roll needs to do.
It does, well, it'll do, but he needs to get rid of it. So
Well-
I feel that Ken will probably receive the ball first, get down the field, score fairly quickly, and I think
quick as
to get rid
Yeah.
of
It's pretty
the
good.
Death Roller, and then he'll be playing the second half, or the second half of the first half, I should say, as a defensive player. And at that point, that's where Jason's skills are going to come into how quickly he can get that ball to the other end of the pitch.
Now with the dwarf team, their fastest player is a runner, movement 6.
Mm-hmm.
Orc team, fastest player, blitzer, movement 6.
Yep.
It's going to be a few go for it's, a few rushes.
There are going to be quite a few, and this is where I think reroll management from Jason is going to, just the rerolls that he's got, or lack of them, is going to let him down a bit. So this is, Ken can go for it quite merrily, and unless he, a 1 in 36 chance of him actually failing it.
Yeah.
What if
There is still an option. There's still a point in time. Like with ground blitzing and stuff. You're right. It could come into a point where all 4 brigands are there. You get one that blitzes in. He goes down. You keep all 4 of them within contact. Your goblin comes in, runs up, What's the cost of a goblin?
Yeah.
If a goblin can take out a death roller,
Well, he's
That's
actually
money
got-
well
He's
spent.
almost got a player perfectly built for it with the dirty player.
oh,
for
he
one of his
has, yes,
blitzers.
blitzers.
And I'd
Okay.
be happy to
Strength
lose a blitzer, one of 4 cruise missiles, to take out something that is essentially going to be the major stopping point for my team.
Okay.
That's it.
What happens if Jason wins the toss? Is he going to receive?
He will receive.
I would put it at if Jason wins
And
the
it'll be a
toss,
turn 8
he would have to
touchdown.
be.
Yep,
Turn 6 in position. Grind it out for 2 more. Walk
Yep.
it in. Yep.
that's the one.
Death roller leads the way. Players at the back just walk along with it.
So, I suppose one of the more important parts of this discussion is 760k
Wow, so
worth
this
of
is a
inducement.
Pretty heavy.
Oh.
Pretty
Now,
heavy.
we've all come up with what we think we would do, and we're going to start with Luke.
Awesome.
So, Coach Luke, tell us what you would do with 760k and Jason's team.
Okay, so I don't know, man. Like 80k for Acorn, Dauntless Claws. That might be something that's going to come into play if he gets a reroll Dauntless roll with Frenzy and is able to take out a blocker. Yeah, that's what I would be doing. Second thing, I'm old school, so Morgan Thorg is does it all. So pretty simple, 380k there. I think Mighty Blow +2, Agi 3, and that strength is just enough to push his team around, which I don't think Ken has actually come up against. He hasn't been bullied. Bribe, of course, for the Death Roller. A Keg, because I'm assuming there's going to be a few knockouts with Thick Skull and the Keg, so you've got that bonus on both sides of the armor breaking injury rolls. And a Wizard.
Good call for the wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call for Wizard.
And that's 760k of inducements for the dwarves,
Yep.
Soul Assassins.
And you, sir?
Well, I went with a little bit simpler. I've not had enough time to play with all of our beautiful star players, so I went with things that I knew. A giant. If you have a giant on place along with your death roller, you're kind of running parallel. You can kind of funnel your opponents into the middle because they want to avoid that, and that's when you put them in a bottleneck and they got to work towards it. Put your giant on one side, your death roller on the other side. They don't want to play against those two. They'll have to come through the middle. All right, and you put Cindy Pie Whistle in there as well. That anyone coming through the middle just gets bombarded with that.
Good call.
Yeah, so you're trying to funnel them in. You're trying to put them in a little tight box, and you want to bomb them. Having Wizard is important because if the ball is far end and your Cindy can't reach him, Wizard.
Yep.
Shazam. All right, that's what you want to do. Reach, because you want this moment. The moment you get the ball and he's on a roll, you can't reach him as a dwarf team. Boom, Wizard. The balance money I think I had was we spent it on. I suggested we go on cheerleaders and coaches as well, just for the reroll for the kickoff playlists, and in case you get to something that you need that additional coach. 1 or 2 additional coach can mean a difference of a reroll.
I think you also were going to put in some kegs as well.
Yes, I mean the keg is
2
important.
kegs
Yeah.
takes it from a 4 up
to
to
a 2 up.
2 up. So yeah, so bringing that down, knowing that you're gonna have players that are sacked, you want to bring them in. So I went Giant, Cindy, kegs, and wizards, and additional coaches and cheerleaders, because you can never have too much cheerleaders.
That's because they're pretty.
They're pretty. They're pretty cool.
All right, for mine, Cindy, yes, because this is probably the last chance he's got to get a mighty blow on a bomber.
Yeah.
So Cindy to knock down those players, 300k in bribes.
Yep.
So what is that? That's
That means
3 bribes.
That's 3 bribes. So you're going to be keeping Cindy and Death Roller on. You're also going to have, if the Death Roller does it, because remember it doesn't have Sneaky Get, it still can break and have that whole send-off thing, so you want that. A Wizard, because it gives all sorts of headaches, including the fact you don't even need to use it. Literally, you can let your Wizard just sit there.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to stall till turn 8. Sure, go right ahead. Zot.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. You've lost your ability to score now. So leaving a Wizard forces that person to score pretty quickly, irrespective of anything else. The final one I've taken, and it could be because I'm Norse, but Ivar.
Oh.
Ivar. So, Ivar, how can I put this nicely? Ivar is a dwarf's best friend, because Ivar's got every single turn you can move one open player, one square as long as he's basing an opposition player.
That changes a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That puts your guard troll slaying dwarf that I've said he has to blitz in, and then he can sit there and give guard to anyone else that's coming through. And remember, guard also helps fouling. So once you knock something over, your death roller comes in with a +2 dirty player, +1 for each of the guards.
Oh, yes.
So I know it's a foul-y thing, and looking at the discussion that we had about the head-to-head with the two teams, note both of them are not dirty players. This might skip them completely by.
Yeah.
Both of them may have to just go, I'm not going to play dirty player.
There is a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
There is. And I think this is the time and place. It's the finals. You may as well get a gun and get it done.
Yeah, lay it out on the field, guys. This is the time for you both amazing coaches who, again, this is the second time they've met. They got to have a head-to-head against each other in the tournaments with the Sunny Coast Slam, and now they're representing their two divisions in this match. They're finalists. So, guys, go all out. Throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at each other.
This will be a head-to-head bash 'em.
Ooh.
Rock'em sock'em time.
Yeah.
This is going to be it. Who's your tip?
Oh.
Yeah, Coach Luke.
Oh, I've given this a bit of thought, and sentimentally, I'm going with Jason. But my head says Ken's probably got the advantage with the team. The inducements might level it right out. I'm saying overtime, roll off, and I'm going to put my money on Jason.
You, sir?
I'm going to go with Ken. Having played against him, I know that he will pick apart any team that is put against him. He knows his strengths and weaknesses, and he knows how to exploit his opponents. So look out, Jace. Ken's coming for you. Hold on to your hats, all right?
For me, if the dice rolls, it's only to do with 2 dice rolls. If Jason can keep his death roller on and fouling, then I think Jason may end up at least drawing and pushing it to a third half, which I think would be really detrimental to Ken because his players will be going down rather rapidly.
Yep.
However, I feel that Ken's got the skills and the 8 rerolls. It's the 8 rerolls that are really tipping it for me on this one. So I will be going for Ken on this too. But I think if Jason can manage, especially if he puts 2 secret weapons on, he makes sure he doesn't put them both on at the same time unless he is guaranteeing himself to slaughter the opposition team and not care.
Yeah.
So
Don't make my mistake.
yes. So I think that is our wrap up for the finals preamble. I suppose all that's next to do is we're going to be looking at the finals.
Yeah.
We are.
See you all there.
We'll see you on the pitch.